Hello and welcome into a Slice of Life hour for your dose of do-it-yourself motivation. I'm Eugene Loh. Thank you very much for joining me here today. Curiosity. Why is it important for a happy and meaningful life? We're going to chat about this today with my guest, Zaibun, who is one of Singapore's most sought-after and effective trainers, motivational speaker, and the author of critically acclaimed books on management and happiness. Her workshops and her talks, renowned for their energy, fun, and thorough knowledge of the subject, have delighted multinational corporations, statutory bodies, academic staff, teachers, professionals, and instructors of the armed forces. She has written 2 books. Is that right, Zaibun?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay. One in, let me see, that was the time actually I spoke to you first. The Zany, Zeal, Zest and Zing, the Z Way to Happiness. Yes. And the other book is called Managing Oneself. And those were back in the in the 2000s. The last one was in 2008. And another book is long overdue. Zaibun, looking forward to that. Hope you're working on it. But in the meantime, if you want to find out more about Zaibun, you can go to zaibun.com. She has a blog that she writes articles about her personal experiences with various issues. So go to zaibun.com to find out more about her. But today we're talking about curiosity. What do we mean by curiosity, Zaibun? Is it like the thirst for knowledge or something?
Okay, curiosity, as I define it, is a desire to know or learn about anything. And it is actually a state of active interest. So a person with curiosity genuinely wants to know more about something. If you watch a preschool child, you'll see the child running around asking questions. For example, why does the sun shine? What is rain? How does the car move? And so on. And parents and teachers will try to answer the child. But when they can't answer the questions that the child has posed, they'll tell the child not to ask questions. And that is what puts children off from asking questions. And their curiosity then is lowered.
Is that also why we tend to lose our curiosity as we grow older?
Yes. As we grow older, we stop asking questions. And we stop asking questions because we do not want to appear stupid. We do not want to appear looking as if we are not sure of things. We do not want to look uncertain about things. So we just accept things as they are, and we conform. And then what happens is that we lull ourselves into accepting what we know, and we think that what we know is right and the only way to do something or the only knowledge about something or other, and we feel comfortable with the situation. So we don't push ourselves towards learning new ideas, new techniques, new processes. And that is why if you don't have that element of curiosity in you, you don't take the step towards acquiring greater knowledge about things and bringing in change.
I see. So why is curiosity important for us?
Well, curiosity is important because when you start asking questions in your mind, why is something like this, or what is wrong about this, you also try to find answers to the questions that you have raised to yourself. So when you keep your mind active, your mind is active, it's strong, and you keep using your thought processes all the time. So you find that curious people, for example, are always on the lookout for new ideas related to some issue or other. They're always on the lookout for new possibilities, new experiences, new answers that may be hidden away. And so as a result of that, they are excited about life. And because they feel that there is always something new to examine. And earlier you mentioned that curiosity will help you towards having a happy life. Well, if you're excited about life, then life becomes dynamic, life becomes interesting, and life becomes happy.
It's energizing.
Yes, that's right.
It pushes you forward.
Correct,
right?
yeah.
And it makes you resilient as well, because one of the qualities, like you mentioned, is this attitude towards finding more possibilities. So always believing that there are other options available.
Yes.
And also, even if you hit, a setback, you're able to think, beyond that.
Correct, yes. You have a problem, you can come up with a solution, and then you can go on further forward with your lives. Yeah.
It creates more progress, I suppose.
Yes, it creates more progress. But I think the other aspect about curiosity, which is very interesting and which some research has shown, is that people with high levels of curiosity have greater analytic ability and good problem-solving skills. And apparently that, I suppose when you take a problem and you analyze it, you don't just give up. But you take it, you tear it apart, you look at why is it this way, what is the cause, how can I solve it, what is the solution to the problem. Your analytical skills are better, your problem-solving skills are better, and your solution-finding skills are better too. So that's why I think it's important to develop curiosity in our lives so that it helps us at our place of work. And at our place of work, we can link new ideas, new theories, new thoughts. And when we link all these things together, you get this element of satisfaction in you. And you also realize that there's a lot of joy and delight in being able to find out something different, something new, and your lives therefore are richer.
It adds value to you as a
Yes,
person.
That's right. And the other thing, if I can just go on,
Sure.
is that we talked about the working life, but in your personal life, research has also shown that people with curiosity tend to have better relationships and happier marriages.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Who knew that a sense of curiosity had so many rewards?
Well, listen to me. Okay. The reason for this is that if you are curious, you have an element of openness in you. And if you are curious, you become genuinely interested in other people. And when you're genuinely interested in other people, you will ask questions. So take a husband and wife, for example. The curious husband will ask of the wife, how was your day? What did you do? What did you feel like? What happened? And so on. But the person who is not curious won't bother to find out all these things. So because there's this element of curiosity and sense of communication, you find that the relationship is better and they interact with each other in a far more interesting manner. And all this leads towards a happier life, if you like.
There's a desire to learn more about your partner and
Yes.
to constantly find out more, right? So it's a learning process. You understand them more as you go along. That helps the relationship as well. And also, if you're curious, I suppose, in your life outside of the relationship, you're also someone who will tend to go for new experiences, get new knowledge, find out about new things, and that also adds a spice to the relationship.
Exactly. And in this day and age where knowledge becomes information becomes obsolete so quickly and so easily, and you get new products, new ideas, new processes, new inventions coming out. If you are curious, you will go further forward, acquire the skills to use some new equipment, find out what's behind a new process or whatever. So the curious person, not just in terms of husband and wife, spouses, but in terms of friendships, in terms of working with others, in terms of neighborliness and so on, you have a better interaction, better communication, and you lead a much better community lifestyle, actually.
We're talking today with Zaibun, who is one of Singapore's most sought-after and effective trainers, motivational speaker, and the author of critically acclaimed books on management and happiness. She maintains a blog, currently over about 36 articles at zaibun.com. More information there as well. Zaibun is spelled Zaibun.com. And coming up, we'll continue to chat with Zaibun more about curiosity, more about the characteristics of curious people and how we can develop those characteristics in us. You're listening to A Slice of Life for your dose of DIY motivation on 938 Live. Dynamic, inspirational, awesome, motivational, and brilliant. Those are just some comments made by people who have attended Zaibun's workshops or talks. If you're looking for a speaker who can motivate and inspire your audience, make them laugh heartily as well, you can find it in Zaibun, my guest today. And Zaibun is one of Singapore's most sought after and effective trainers, motivational speaker, and the author of critically acclaimed books on management and happiness. More information can be found at zaibun.com. And we're talking about curiosity today, and I'm really glad you proposed this topic, Zaibun, because I haven't done this topic on its own, that is, on the show before. And when you proposed it to me, I thought, well, yeah, I had a rough idea of what you were going to talk about, but then you expanded on it to include benefits such as, improving your relationships even. Let's talk about the characteristics of curious people then. What are they, and how can we develop them in us?
Okay. The curious person actually has been described as highly enthusiastic, energetic, talkative, and very confident and interesting, because of course they have some kind of knowledge and information about various subjects, because they're curious, they've gone to read up, they've gone to find out, and so they can expand on it. So in fact, they have a wide range of interests. And generally, what is good about curious people is that they're not timid, and they're not anxious, and they're not insecure. And these are the kind of people that we want in society. We want people who are confident, we want people who are enthusiastic, we want people who are not afraid of going out looking for information and of sharing their information with other people.
How does curiosity help to lessen anxiety, I wonder?
Lessen anxiety.
You mentioned they are less anxious.
Because if you are curious, let's say if you are curious because in your job environment you have been given a new project to do, and the new project entails acquiring new skills, acquiring some new information or so. If you are the curious person, you will attend to it with a lot of enthusiasm, and you will read up, attend whatever classes or so that are provided for you in the workplace, and you will become more anxious. You become more confident, and it will overcome that anxiety that the non-curious person will have. Right. The non-curious person will say, "Oh gosh, I've got a new project to do. How am I going to cope? How am I going to manage, and worry about it and become more and more anxious about it." But the curious person won't. Likewise, in your personal life, if you've got curiosity and, your mother has been diagnosed with a certain illness, let's say a cancer or so, and you know nothing about it, but because you're curious, you go on the internet, you read up, you find out a bit more. You read up about what you can do to help your mother. You read up about what you can do in terms of providing not just medical support, etc., but other kinds of support as well. And in that way, the curious person can cope with that problematic situation, whereas the non-curious person might go into a slight depression, worry, and be anxious about his or her mother condition.
The more information you have about a problem or a challenge, the less scary it becomes.
That's right. That's why curiosity, I feel, is very important, because it's the first step towards learning and towards acquiring knowledge, and very, very important in our world today, because knowledge becomes obsolete in very, very quickly.
Right. And that's why the attitude of curiosity keeps moving you forward.
Correct. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm chatting with Zaibun today, and she's one of Singapore's most sought-after and effective trainers, motivational speaker, and the author of critically acclaimed books on management and happiness. We're chatting about curiosity today. Why is curiosity important for a happy, successful, and meaningful life? Do continue to stay with us here on 938 Live. A Slice of Life Hour with me, Eugene Loh, continues after headline news, sports, and business. We're talking about curiosity today on A Slice of Life Hour on 938 Live with my guest Zaibun, one of Singapore's most sought after and effective trainers, motivational speaker, and author of critically acclaimed books on management and happiness. They're called Managing Oneself, Footprints to Success, published in 2005, and Zany Zeal, Zest and Zing, the Z Way to Happiness, back in 2008. More information can be found on zaibun.com. That's spelled zaibun.com. Earlier we left off at characteristics of curious people. Zaibun, can you just summarize those characteristics for us before telling us about how we can develop them as well?
Okay. Some of the characteristics of curious people would be, for example, that they are highly enthusiastic, they're energetic, they're talkative, they're confident, they're interesting, because they have a lot to say or something to say about the subject of their interest. They tend to also be people who are not timid, not anxious, and not insecure. So generally people with a sense of curiosity, you will find, have greater satisfaction with their hobbies, their interests, their passions in life. So they want to learn more, and they find that when they learn more and they go out and search for the information, life then becomes more meaningful for them. And you will find that the curious person, take for example, who enjoys reading, will go out and look for different types of books on different subjects, and will enjoy acquiring information about many, many different topics. And if he or she is interested, let's say, in golf, he or she would learn more about the game itself, watch videos about the game, read up about the game, go down and look at the different types of clubs, etc., and learn more about the game. And the same would apply in any other sports as well.
Talk to their friends who play golf and all that sort of thing. So their network grows, and a lot of benefits related to that sense of curiosity, right? They embrace change also.
Yes,
right?
Embrace change. And I think that is very, very important, because things happen and we need to change. We need to change the way in which we do our work, acquire a new process, for example. We need to acquire new skills. We need to acquire new information. And then our jobs are different. Our family life is different too. The way we, go about our daily chores will also be different. Once you acquire a new piece of equipment for the home, things change. So you have to be interested in bringing about change, and the best way to be interested in bringing about change is to be curious about what is happening around you.
Yeah, so life is not static.
Yes, life is not static. And I think, actually in particular, if we think of elderly people, it's very important for them to recognize that they should be curious about learning something different, something new, curious about what's happening in the world, curious about what's happening in the community, curious about what's happening with the people with whom they interact with day in and day out, then life becomes quite exciting, life becomes quite fun.
Yeah, it becomes bigger. Your world becomes bigger.
Right.
Yeah?
Your world definitely will become bigger.
Yeah. And a lot of fear actually stems from the unknown.
Yes.
Right?
And if you are not clear about something, and if things are unknown, then you become anxious and you become worried about it. But if you are more confident about it and you know what's happening, then definitely you'll be more secure, perhaps, in your position. Yeah.
Okay. Well, some people are more naturally curious than other people. So for the less curious, naturally curious ones, how can we actually, develop an authentic sense of curiosity?
Okay, the first step to developing curiosity is to maintain an open mind. And to tell yourself that you are willing to learn, that you are willing to relearn, you're willing to unlearn certain things. A lot of the time, I've seen it in myself. You tell yourself, oh, I know enough about this. I don't need to learn anymore. Whatever I've been doing has been effective. Whatever I've been doing has produced results. Why should I change? Why should I unlearn what I have learned before? But really, in order to develop curiosity, you have to have an open mind, and you have to be willing to unlearn and to relearn. You have to also not shut yourself out from new knowledge and new ideas. Be open, be receptive. If people come up with something new, something different, you read about it, don't just, brush it aside and say that not relevant, not necessary for me at this stage. So it's very important to start building knowledge. That's the first step. Then I think the next step is that you should tell yourself that things are not as they appear to be. And for example, look around you. Look below the surface to find new ideas. It could be in your home. It could be in your workplace. Don't just accept things as they are. So look at things that are familiar to you right now, and look at the people you come across, the people who are close to you, and find things in them that you hadn't seen before. Find things in them that you may have overlooked. Practice this, and if you keep practicing it, it will enhance your sense of curiosity.
So don't accept things at face value?
That's true. Don't accept things at face value. Don't just say, this is it, there's nothing different, nothing wrong with it, but be curious, what's happened down there? What can I see now that I didn't see before? And the most valuable aspect to developing all this is to use questions. To use questions and to keep using the words. I know it sounds very simple, but to keep using the words like what, why, when, who, where, and how. And keep practicing asking questions about everything. What is that? Why is it made that way? Who invented it? Where does it come from? How does it work? Don't just, as you said, accept things at face value, but don't just accept things. This is a new piece of equipment, just take it, but ask the questions about it. And then listen carefully and do not judge or react immediately. And that, I think, is very good. But many people are afraid to ask questions.
You mentioned earlier because
Yes.
that fear of appearing ignorant or appearing the fool.
Correct. And they're afraid to ask questions, and they don't know sometimes how to ask questions also. Then I think to be curious and to acquire information, to bring about change, you have to regard learning as fun. Everything is fun. And if you have this philosophy, if you like, that everything is fun and learning is fun, you keep pursuing learning, then you find that you want to acquire more and more information. you've been on a trip, let's say to Paris, you've been to the museum, you've seen some beautiful pieces of art, and you want to acquire more information about it. So you come back here to your home, you go to the library, you borrow some books on art, you look at the artwork, and you read about the artist, you read about form, color, etc. And from there, it takes you on to other artists, other artworks, and so on and so forth. And this way, you acquire more significance and meaning into your life.
It really enriches your soul, your mind.
Yes,
and helps you appreciate the world so much more, really.
Actually, yes. You know, like for example, if you went on a trip and you went to look at some archaeological site or some historical site, you know, let's say the pyramids, for example, in Cairo, in Egypt, and you go to the Valley of the Tombs and you go to the museum and you see the treasures there, and then you come back and you start reading up about the history, the people who were involved, and once you know about the history and the people who were involved, etc., you can link it to present-day situations, for example. Okay, there was this great pharaoh. You can link it to another great king, etc. And you can make connections with knowledge. And then you find that when you make connections, etc., and you come up with some new idea, everything is so much more fun and meaningful and significant, actually.
Yeah, and helps us make sense of our lives as well.
Yes, definitely. Because you look at what people have done in the past, you look at how they behaved, you look at their practices, etc., and then you look at ourselves today, and is there any different? Is there any change? What are the differences, and so on? And you keep asking yourself these questions. I think that, to me, that is so much more meaningful, you know, than just sitting passive and
inert,
not thinking, perhaps.
Yeah, maintaining just the status quo, you know, not rocking the boat, people say.
Right.
It also helps us anticipate problems, doesn't it?
Yes, it helps you to anticipate problems. So if, for example, you know, you think in your home, there's going to be some changes in the area around you, like, okay, they're going to be changing the traffic system, or they're going to be changing the road system, or whatever, then you ask yourself, what am I going to do? How is this going to affect me? How am I going to cope with all these changes, etc.? And then when it happens, you're able to cope with it better.
Yes. You can see how valuable, or how much more valuable it makes you as a worker as well. You know,
yes. And this is where I think if you're working, you're in a work environment, you should challenge yourself and undertake the tasks and projects in which you are interested. That's one great thing. But sometimes you're given things which you are not interested, but undertake them, because the more you do, the better you get at it, the more challenging it is, your mind gets active, you're learning new ideas, you're coming up with solutions to problems within the workplace, etc. And then, you know, you skip into work and you enjoy what you're doing, and it all becomes so much more exciting and meaningful, actually.
It's very fluid, so you don't stay stuck in any place or spot, right?
Yeah.
So be curious, find out more about the Zaibun as well over at her website and blog. It's zaibun.com. That's Zaibun. And my guest today, Zaibun, is one of Singapore's most sought-after and effective trainers, motivational speaker, and the author of critically acclaimed books on management and happiness. Zaibun, thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you, Eugene.